So, I've been a Harry Potter fan since I was 4 years old, and it's kind of no secret that when you grow up pretty much with the series that you have certain feelings about it. I literally got into it from the third movie, loved it ever since. I went to the theaters to see the rest of the movies following after pretty much by the fourth movie. So, in case you can't tell or no, I am a big Harry Potter fan. I mean, it's I guess pretty obvious, especially if you know me personally. That's one thing that I love. There are a lot of things that I could say because I'm complex about Harry Potter getting remade, especially into a series. I just want to start off by giving a little bit of a background story, especially from, like, as I said, I literally have been growing up with the series. At the time of me recording this, I'm 26 years old. I started watching Harry Potter when I was 4. My older brother, who is 7 years older than me, was born in 1991. He grew up watching, of course, he read Harry Potter, started watching the movies when they came out. I mean, he even one year dressed up as Harry one year from Halloween. I mean, and my brother has dark hair too, like Daniel Radcliffe, so he was so adorable. I know that my parents took a picture of it. It's somewhere in existence. I have no idea what it is. I haven't seen that picture in years, but I know my parents got a picture of him. Like, he had the robe, he had, I think, the lantern, the Harry's glasses, and I think he had a wand too. I mean, it was so cute. I think it was before I was born. Or maybe actually, I think I was really little. But, I got into it because this was when, before the fourth movie came out, and when the third movie, Prisoner of Azkaban, came out on DVD. I think one day my brother was randomly watching it from what I remember, and I kind of basically just casually watched it from what I was told. And knowing that I was intrigued, I literally watched it all the way through, and then so I watched the first 2 movies and I just immediately fell in love with it, and I've literally stuck with the series ever since then. And because I was so small when the first 2 came out, it was really like something extra that I could bond over with my brothers. So I feel like I pretty much grew up, especially with the younger cast back then, especially that are now adults. I feel like I pretty much grew up with them. But I went to the movie theaters. My dad took me and my brother to see the rest of the series, and there is literally no other movie hype than how Deathly Hallows was when it came out in theaters. I mean, the iconic movie poster that just says everything. And I don't think people today will understand literally the hype, or like not the hype, but also the disappointment of having to wait an entire year because part 1 came out. Of course, there's like a year break between when part 1 and part 2 came out, I believe. So having to wait an entire year to find out what happens in part 2, especially with how part 1 ended, heartbreakingly, literally the worst. And experiencing part 2, Deathly Hallows Part 2 in theaters, there was nothing like it at all. The happiness, the cheers, the tears. I mean, when Voldemort getting killed, I mean, seeing Snape's memories, knowing the truth behind it all. I mean, just that was a true experience of a time to live in, and I am so glad that I got to grow up around that childhood. Like, I pretty much think that my dad looked at me when I was crazy, crying and getting emotional and stuff, with all the deaths in the latest movies. But Harry Potter now as an adult has a big huge part in life, as you can't tell, because of the fact that it's just something so magical. And J.K. Rowling she written and created such a series, and it's just, there's nothing like it in this world. I mean, people can disrespect J.K. Rowling all that they want to about what she says and stuff like that, but we wouldn't have Harry Potter if it wasn't her. People don't even just like understand fully, or maybe kind of forget how hard she worked to even get Harry Potter out there. I mean, and this is coming from a writer's perspective because I do have a college degree in writing. Just the whole way she created it, it's just, there's something about it. And then the movie series, I mean, from the cast to the sets, it's just, even the way that all the books were written by her, it's just something so magical about it. I mean, it's so comforting. It brings people together, and you just get so captivating by it that you just end up binge watching the entire series, basically, just from watching one movie. You want to watch more immediately. I mean, and it makes you forget about life's problems. I mean, that's the beauty of it. And most of the cast that I know of, especially as adults over time, they still have that love and endless care for the series. I mean, because it was a huge part of their lives, and they made Harry Potter partially what it is. I mean, there's so much that I could even go off to rant off and say, but just the magic of it all is just something that cannot be recreated, basically, is what I'm trying to say. From the cast to the sets, the way and the effects, the way how everything came together, is just something so magical about it. And I mean, the entire original cast literally bonded together so well. Everybody just came together, bonded, and had some sort of genuine friendship or relationship that they all had a great time making it. And they literally just made it so magical and just so wonderful. I mean, I personally just don't understand how something like of the movies can be recreated in a way. I mean, yes, there are a lot of fans out there, including me, that are always going to be disappointed when something gets transferred from a book to a movie. But newsflash here, every single thing that gets transferred from a book to a movie is not always going to be 100% based in the books, okay? They always say based on the book or something for a reason, meaning that the story is inspired by something, created into something, like the show Bones, how that's created about a woman's life, or how every Stephen King novel gets transferred in a movie, which is literally the closest I've ever seen to some of them between book and movie. I mean, for instance, his story Misery, if you watch the movie and then read the book, or vice versa, whichever one, the magic of it is literally, the director and producer did such a good job of recreating that specific movie, and it is one of my favorite all-time Stephen King movies and books for a reason, because you can literally just imagine the scenes in the movie when reading the book, and that is literally the closest I've ever seen. But nothing is ever 100% when it comes to recreating things. And to be honest, as much as I have been excited from the get-go to see about this, the more time goes on, the more I just it just seems to be a huge disappointment. Like, it really just seems like whoever is trying to put the series together basically now have no previous knowledge about it whatsoever. I mean, did they even see all the movies? Did they even read the books? Did they watch the Harry Potter anniversary thing, which basically gives everything nowadays to what people get to know? I mean, they get to hear background stories. You get to see behind the scenes in that. I mean, did they try to talk to any of the directors and producers that worked on the movie to know how things was done? Because the way the set was created alone in the movies, and the way they did things, the the theatrics, the effects, the little action scenes that they had to do. I mean, did they talk to anyone? Did they watch anything? Read anything? I mean, it seems like whoever's creating this literally has no flipping idea what they're doing. I don't know if what Hollywood has turned into, but it just, with some things, it just seems to be a huge disappointment after another. And while I am glad that it is said that J.K. Rowling is a part of this, I honestly don't know what she's thinking. Partially, that's what I'm mostly glad for, that of course she's a part of it, because it would be a total 100% screw up if it was, but it already is 50% there, in my opinion, and it's not even going to be out for a freaking long time. I mean, when they made the movies, it was literally, they literally made one after another eventually. I mean, Alan Rickman even said it himself in an interview, which I will play, but he literally once stated that they partially didn't even know what they were doing when the first few came out. I mean, they were literally just rolling with the flow, because, newsflash again, if people forgot, when the movie started to be made, she was still freaking writing the newer books. Did anyone forget that? When Harry Potter started to be made into movies, not all the entire book series was even out yet. So they literally were just going with the flow on things. I mean...
Did you have a good time doing it?
Well, it's an extraordinary experience. You know, there isn't anything to compare it to. When I said I would do it, there were only 3 books, so... didn't quite know what any of us were letting ourselves in for. And to realize that, after the 3rd film, we'd sort of got it organized a bit, so that I and the other adult characters were, on average, I suppose, I was doing 7 weeks a year on each film in a bunch, so that I had 45 weeks doing other things, you know, directing in the theater or being on stage 6 months here in New York, in Private Lives.
And furthermore, speaking of Alan Rickman, he even once stated in another interview how magical is not even the right word, but how hypnotized he got by just the sceneries around him and the sets. I mean, the people who created the sets put so much work into making the background sets of the castle, and just everything were so magical that even a lot of the actors were just hypnotized by it surrounding them. And Alan Rickman even stated that, which proves that even people at his age were like, couldn't even believe that they were on the set. I mean, you cannot recreate that magic. I'm sorry.
It was a unique experience, and I wouldn't have missed anything for it. And I'm proud of the fact that we all took it dead seriously. And, you know, there was no messing about. Well, there was a little bit. Yeah, we had to laugh sometimes. But there was a lot of work to be gotten through every day. But, you know, amazing work by Stuart Craig, the production designer. I never stopped being fascinated by picking up my wand and poking the wall just to check that it really was polystyrene, because it looked like a real castle. Incredible skill sets around you everywhere.
Anything, I don't have a doubt that whoever does what role, if this gets 100% successful, there's no telling nowadays who's going to play who, because so many rumors keep floating that this person is going to play this character and so on and so forth, and then it keeps changing constantly. And I'm not trying to be that person, but as long as I've been involved, or at least in with the Harry Potter universe, I am feeling particularly very picky about who they're choosing, I guess is the right word to say, about who plays what character, because it's like, I don't know, it's some of the adult characters that, thank goodness, are still alive and they're still here with us. I don't understand why they can't be involved somehow. Like, Gary Oldman is such a good actor. I mean, he's a terrific actor. He could have easily gotten away with playing Dumbledore. Ralph Fiennes, who did Voldemort, I mean, it seems like the man, I mean, to me, yes, he has gotten older, but to me, the man does not age, because, let's be honest here, he still looks good at his age. I mean, and he still acts. I mean, there's the Menu. He's been in James Bond movies, 007 movies over the years, too, since, of course, doing Harry Potter. But just like the fact that some of these people that were involved, especially adults in Harry Potter, they were so famous with doing so many other stuff, from Alan Rickman to Maggie Smith to Ralph Fiennes to you know who I mean, to Robbie Coltrane to Gary Oldman, I mean, to Michael Gambon. I mean, all of these people that are involved, even the woman who played as Professor Sprout and Flickwick, and I mean, all of the professors, basically. I mean, there's so many people of these whole actors, whether they're male or female, where coming from me as being somebody who got into it when they were basically very small, I got to know of all these famous people because of Harry Potter specifically. So I fell in love with them and watched whatever else they were in. And I basically fell in love with who they are, not just as people, but how good they are as actors. Whether, especially the ones that are not dead, may they rest in peace. Because we lost so many of those terrific actors, which is unbelievable to think about, especially watching the movie series now, how many of these people that we have lost. I mean, it truly just blows my mind. But you can't just, it's so hard to try and recreate something that was so magical. I mean, I honestly don't see the point of it getting remade. I mean, if they decided to redo a movie based on Voldemort, for instance, this is coming from a writer's aspect here, so hear me out. So, you know, if people that have seen all of the movies, you know the part, Deathly Hallows Part 2, where Voldemort, of course, everyone knows when Voldemort officially dies and disintegrates in the air. It would be great if there was a movie where that scene started out of him dying, but before he actually does die and disintegrate in the air, he could have like a total flashback of his life, and starting from when he was a child into adulthood, to really understand his character and why he's fully made the choices that he did, creating the Horcruxes, all this. The whole movie can be about him about to die, and the rest of the movie until the end could be about his life, like play out his life. And then at the very end, they can even play pieces from the original movie if necessary. I mean, from when he gets resurrected, from the Goblet of Fire, to him trying to chase Harry around and kill him, to Harry defeating him in the very last second, and then whatever, the result of being what it was in Deathly Hallows. I mean, to imagine a movie where somebody has an entire flashback before their eyes, right before they're going to be killed, of their entire life. And then where is that? Okay? The life of Voldemort. Come on. How come nobody has freaking made that? I know I'm not the only fan that has said that over years, but come on. Someone in Hollywood should have got on that by now and involved Ralph, since he played Voldemort. I mean, how come, even J.K. Rowling, how come nobody has made a movie or anything just a movie alone based on the life of Voldemort to like really get in depth of his character, since from the fourth movie, since most of the movie is based on him. Especially with him carrying Harry's parents and Harry literally being a part of Voldemort living inside him. I mean, I don't mean to rant off about this for so long. I usually don't do videos like this, but I'm 26 right now. In this video, me recording this, I'm 26, okay? And I started watching Harry Potter when I was 4. I said that a couple times already, but to point it out, I have been involved in this universe mostly my entire life, and I will forever, until my death, be in love with the series. I will forever love the Harry Potter universe. It will always be a huge part of my life, and that's why I feel so complex about it getting recreated, because it is so hard to recreate that magic once it's been recreated. Honestly, in my opinion, if you're not going to have something like that respected in a way that is literally one of the biggest universes ever going on for 20 years, that's like Marvel, whatever, that is loved by generations of people, then I'm sorry. Then, you know, Harry Potter, like I said, Harry Potter brings people together. Kids, teens, adults, watch that movie, okay? Anyone around me, like say my close family, say like my parents, for example, if I'm around my parents or visiting them, if I'm spending time with my parents, basically, they know I'm a Harry Potter fan. They see me watching a Harry Potter movie. They will likely sit down with me and watch them. My brother probably will most likely sit down with me and watch it. Especially since we basically grew up. He grew up with me turning me into a fan. And we went to the movie theaters as kids to see the rest of the series. And we bonded over that. And and I became a fan all because my brother was a fan. That is really why I'm just so complexed, because I just don't see the point of something being recreated when it's already done. And even though, yes, you can do better and go on based on the movies, it's just everything so little that was done to end up making the movies to begin with. There's something about it, just something, in my opinion, just cannot be recreated. So while I will say that it's up to anybody else as a Harry Potter fan, whether you agree or disagree or whatever, I know there's a middle ground for a lot of us, for a lot of Harry Potter fans, where we kind of don't really want this and was expecting someone else. Some people are happy. That's why I'm in the middle, because I'm starting to feel like there's not much of a point anymore, because they seem to start even screwing up the casting. But if you go back after a while, knowing that the series is trying to be redone, if you go back and watch the movies, and if you take the time to actually watch or get to know behind the scenes stuff of how it's specifically made and done, stuff like that, you will realize and appreciate the magic of it even more. And I will simply say that if you have not watched the anniversary special that was done of Harry Potter, where a lot of the cast members came together, some of the past directors, stuff like that, they talk to each other, they do different interviews. I mean, they talk about the series. There's all behind the scenes stuff. I mean, Chris Columbus, I believe that's his last name. Chris, one of the famous directors that worked on a couple of movies, was in there, which I don't understand why the people who are doing Harry Potter nowadays are even trying to review him, because he did the movies so well. I mean, I would just recommend people to take the time, find it, and watch it. And then come back, or then think about it and see how you feel. Because there's all kinds of behind the scenes and stuff like that. And even I think a couple of scenes within Deathly Hallows, I think they actually filmed in real scenes. I believe like when there was a lot of time where Ron, Harry, and Hermione were stuck camping out, you know, in the wilderness, whatever, trying to go off to Voldemort and stuff. I think they were actually filming in certain locations, so which is actually pretty cool. But it's just, that is a huge recommendation because it makes you appreciate the magic of the making of it even more, and seeing how much the cast not only has evolved over the years as people and as actors themselves, and no matter what they do, but see how much of a general connection they still have with each other. And it really makes you appreciate the ones also that were gone, because you can look up and see what some people have said online and stuff about that. But like Daniel said, it's something that will always be appreciated and a big part of you. But to me, there's just something about Harry Potter that's just magical in a way that I partly don't know if that magic is ever going to be the same. That is why I'm so complex, because I don't know if the feeling of how you get when you watch Harry Potter and seeing people watch Harry Potter and get invested into it for the first time, I don't understand how that can be recreated so well when it was partially done just as best already, because J.K. Rowling's ideas came to life. And while, yes, like I said, I am glad that she's being a big part of it, it seems like there's just so many little screw-ups already that I just personally am starting to think, what's the point of even trying to remake it if you guys can't even get the partial casting right? But if it really does come out, I will probably give it a shot. As a Harry Potter fan, I will give it a shot, at least give it a try. But I'm not going to feel the same about it, because the magic of the movies, and always, of course, reading the books, is just something that is going to feel very near and dear to my heart. And especially Prisoner of Azkaban, because that is the movie that I watched when I was 4, that I got into. So the third one holds a very, very close place in my heart for a reason, as you can tell. But I hope you guys, if anyone is at the end, thank you for listening to me rant forever today about not just my love of Harry Potter, how I got into it, but why I'm just overall complex of it being remade. And it's just speaking of opinion from a Harry Potter fan. So thank you guys so much for joining in. Don't forget to like and comment on all my videos, including this one. And please consider subscribing to my channel. Support does mean a lot to me. I love doing YouTube as a hobby. And when you subscribe, hit the bell to get notified so you don't miss when I post any new videos. So thank you much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.